iCANDID is an infrastructure project that started in 2018, which is coordinated by the KU Leuven Institute for Media Studies with Libis as its technical partner. The platform is designed to support researchers and students who need access to large datasets for social sciences and humanities research. iCANDID offers integrated access to, among other things, full text data from news and social media for data mining. In this video, we will show you the simple and advanced search functions of iCANDID and the search facets of the platform, as well as its export functions. When going to iCANDID, users who already have an account can log in by clicking here or here. Users who don't have access yet can request access by clicking here and filling out a form. Once your request has been processed by a member of the iCANDID team, you will receive an email to announce that you can access the platform. You can also change languages at the top of the screen here by choosing between English or Dutch. iCANDID combines data from several providers and is mostly related to current affairs and the media. The platforms of the data providers themselves often do not include functionalities for large exports of machine-readable full-text data, which is why iCANDID provides users with those kind of export formats. To see what data is available on iCANDID, you can consult the collection registry. This page contains an overview of all of the datasets on the platform. The blue open lock indicates that this is a dataset that you currently already have access to. The red closed lock, however, means that results from this dataset will not show up in your search results. You can always request access to one of those datasets, however, by ticking the box for request access next to it and then selecting request access here, which will lead you to a new form where you can provide us with your motivation for requesting access to that dataset, which can be important because in some cases the access is limited due to privacy or rights issues, and we need to be able to evaluate your request. Do not hesitate to request access though, because some datasets may simply be locked because they're not necessarily useful to most researchers or students who are making use of iCANDID. Some of the data that is automatically available to users includes data from Belga Press Academic, which gives access to the archives of the Belgian printed press going back to 2014. The Electronic News Archive, which contains information on the audiovisual news in Flanders. Some datasets from Twitter, or X as it is currently known, which was harvested based on hashtags and user accounts at the request of researchers and research groups involved in iCANDID, and parliamentary data from the Flemish and Swedish parliaments, which contains legislative documents and parliamentary discussions. The iCANDID Data Hub keeps growing in volume and diversity of available datasets. iCANDID is not limited in the types of data it can collect and include. It is therefore possible that other data and data types have been added since the time of this recording. The simple search page contains several fields you can use to build up your query. The field on the top is where you can type in your search terms. Below that, you can select whether you want to search for all of the words you typed, at least one of the words you typed, or the exact sentence as you typed it. Below that, you can also specify if you want to search for data from yesterday, the previous week, the previous month, or the previous year. The standard option selected here is the previous year. If you're not necessarily looking for recent data, you can also select the entire archive to get more results. In the lowest couple of fields, you can specify from which sources you want data. The standard setting here will lead to results from all of the data sources you have access to. You can select and deselect broader categories here if you don't want to go through every dataset you want to exclude or include separately. You can also, of course, select or deselect specific datasets. After performing your search, you can click on the disk icon here to save your query. This can be convenient if you want to repeat the exact same query later. You can also clear your query immediately if you want to start a new one by clicking Clear Search. If you want to consult your saved queries later on, you can do so by going to Profile and Saved Searches. Here you can also copy the query that you made to your clipboard, or just entirely delete that query. You can sort your results according to 4 criteria. Relevance is the standard sorting, and this ranking ensures that results containing the most amount of your used search terms are sorted at the top of the list. Publication date sorts the results in order of most recent to oldest. Author sorts the results alphabetically according to the author's name, and title sorts according to the titles, also alphabetically, with quotation marks, apostrophes, or other symbols being ranked before letters. Further down on the left-hand side of the screen, you will find the search facets. Here you can filter your search results. Under provider, you can select an option if you want results from only one of the providers in your result list. You can use author in case you only want results from one or several of the authors. With publisher, you can filter on the original source of the record, and edition finally is only available for certain newspapers that have separate regional editions. In the middle of the page, you can see your list of results. Clicking on an article will show you the corresponding metadata for that article on the right side of your screen. There are separate scrolling bars for the list of results and for the metadata field of the article. By ticking the boxes next to articles and afterwards clicking the Save Records button, you can save these records to a collection. You can type in a name to create a new collection, or you can select a collection that you already made beforehand and save those records to that collection. Next to the Save Records button is an Export button, which will open a new window. This allows you to export your results in several formats, and the link to the export file will then be sent to the email address that is tied to your account. That link will remain active for 10 days. For certain datasets, iCANDID also provides enrichments to the metadata. These enrichments are only available for the JSON export, however. You can select which enrichments you want by ticking the boxes next to them. In the metadata field on the right, you can see the most relevant metadata such as publication date, author, where it was published, and what the title is. There is also a description of the article when this is provided to us, as well as obviously the full text of the record. At the bottom are finally also a few links. One of them, permalink, is a link to the record as it exists on the iCANDID platform. This link goes to the provider page where you can see the record on the platform of the data provider. Often you do need to be logged into the platform of the data provider to access this via this method. If you land on a different page, just log into the provider platform first and then click on the iCANDID link again. Some records also contain links to media files. For newspaper articles, this can be an image of the article itself, or sometimes media files for images used in the article. Advanced search, you can search for words in particular metadata fields. And you can also combine different search criteria. For certain metadata fields, you can specify whether you want to receive results that contain the words that you typed, contain the exact phrase you typed or that start with what you typed. Using AND ensures that both of these search criteria you entered are included in the search results. With OR, both or either of them are included, and with NOT, you can ensure that certain results are excluded. The same sorting and filtering options apply in advanced search. Here you can also see that for Twitter data, some of the metadata is different from that of newspaper articles. The type is a message rather than a news article, for example. And tweets also have a sender rather than only an author. There is also no description provided to us, but we do index hashtags as keywords. If a different Twitter user is mentioned, this is also included in the metadata. In this case, you can see that it is a retweet because the author and the sender are different users. The original author is also included under mentions, where other tagged users will also appear. These advanced search options can be used to construct more complicated queries. When you are building a query that contains both the AND OR function, you need to make sure you end with the AND function. Especially with more complicated queries, it can be useful to save this so you don't have to reconstruct the exact same query later on if you want to revisit the results it gives. As previously mentioned, an icon for this is provided. To consult your saved queries, you can go to Profile and click Saved Searches. Under Profile, you can also find your saved records, and using the trash can be used to delete records from these collections. The page for search history is also included and contains all of the searches you made during your currently active session. iCANDID also gives users some visualization options to give you a first impression of what you might be able to learn from the data that you found. You can access these visualization options by clicking the icon here. This includes, among other things, a publications tree map, so you can see which publications show up most often in your search results. There's a bar graph in case you want to see how often certain other terms show up in your search results. This can be done for several terms. And there's a word heat map as well in case you want to see how often certain terms show up in your search results per publication. These are just a few options available in the visualization menu. New visualization tools can also be added in the future. Because iCANDID is a platform that combines data from several data providers, it is important to also mention the terms of use for the platform. You can consult these more extensively here. Essentially, due to the agreement between iCANDID and its data providers, how you are allowed to use the data you find in iCANDID is subject to their terms of use. When making use of iCANDID, please also acknowledge the infrastructure in your publications by adding the following statement. Work on the iCANDID platform will continue with the implementation of new features and integration of new data. For more information on iCANDID, you can consult the help page or contact us at icandid@kuleuven.be. You can also use that email address to contact us about the inclusion of potential new datasets.